Sorry to Wickers Valley Sports. Coach, a few weeks ago, you were talking about the potential of Evan Mobley as a weapon at the 5. Obviously not seeing a lot of minutes of that because JA. Is this in a way an opportunity to jumpstart that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously out of necessity, but, it's more his natural position if you want to give him, a position, and it's where he's played and been comfortable at. There is a mismatch there for him at that spot because of his ability to move and be on the perimeter and be hard to locate. And then defensively, I mean, he's a great rim protector already. So what it's going to do is, it open up some opportunities for him to get different matchups and put true centers on him. And now let's see how we can be creative to help him take advantage of that.
Is there anything that he has to do differently, like with how he thinks about the game at that position?
I mean, there's probably more role opportunities. When he's at the 4 and he's playing with Jarrett typically ends up around the basket. So for spacing purposes, Evan pops more. But I think now we'll see his true rim threat and lob threat as well and playing that 2-man game with our guards.
In the last couple of times you played this Indiana team, down in a hole, I think it was 20, 21 points, something like that. How important is it to get out on this team early?
I mean, last game we, gave them 47 points in the first quarter. They made 10 out of 12 threes to start the game, and it was interesting. We talked about they scored 37 points in the second half combined. So we know what our defense is capable of, but you can't put that much stress on your defense. So our start's going to be key for us, and they play at a fast tempo. So we've got to make sure, again, we value the basketball. We take the shots that we want to take and give ourselves an opportunity to get back in transition and set our half-court defense.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com, AJB.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, how are you coping, and how is the group coping with yet another absence?
You have your moment in the beginning. You go through, the grief of losing one of your guys, losing one of your teammates, and then you have to get out of it quickly. And that's all of us, always trying to take into account the human nature of our business, which I think a lot of times is lost, right? Like we expect our guys to be superheroes, but they're humans, as well. You feel for Jarrett, the type of year he was having, the load that he was bearing for us, how he embraced that, and then him, knowing how badly he wants to be a part of it and then him not being there. But, the job that he would want you to do. And that's what all his teammates expect. He wants his teammates to go out and compete their tails off and try to win as many games as we possibly can. So we've got to carry his spirit with us.
Do you expect to have him back before the end of the regular season?
I'm still unsure on that.
So when it comes to that, with the unsure nature of this particular injury, when Rondo went down, it was 1 to 2 weeks. Karras went down, it was 1 to 2 weeks. This one being up in the air, like as a coach, how do you manage that, the uncertainty of all that?
I mean, you just have to prepare for what you have and the guys that are there in front of you. And, once we get a little bit more clarity, when a longer term decision has been made, then you've got to put a plan in place for Jarrett and, understand again, where we are and what we hope to be playing for. And then how do you do what's best by him to put him in a position to be successful as soon as possible without endangering him. So, there's 2 separate plans in place right now. There's a plan of who's in front of us and the guys that are still playing, and then the plan for Jarrett and how we work him back.
Anything else in the room?
Yes, 13th in the East last year, now you're jumping all the way up to 6th. What do you view as the biggest difference or biggest hurdle you guys got over that allowed you to go from here to the bottom of the East to firmly in the playoff?
I think our guys, we're tired of being in that position. Our guys have bought into the fact that the team is bigger than themselves, and we don't have any selfish individuals. We have a bunch of guys who try to play their role, play it well, but they know how important it is to the team for them to be successful in that role and not overstep and try to do somebody else's job. So I think, that commitment to the team and obviously the development of, our young guys, sprinkling the vets that we have, But I think that's been the key to it.
JB, how do you think Darius has handled this ascension he's been on and kind of being put, at the forefront of the NBA?
I mean, he's handled it well. When you know Darius and, the way that we know him and have the relationship with him, like this is the type of person he is. He's not a, diva. He's not a front runner. He's a down to earth, genuinely good human being who just because of, his successes, he wasn't going to change. And I think that's one of the things where, when you have that success, it amplifies who you really are as a person. If you're a really good person and you have great success, you have an opportunity to be, to do even more and be an even bigger person and have more positive influence. And that's what Darius is.
Kelsey.
Go through some of the athletic. Hey, JB, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. Hey, is Rondo available tonight, or is the plan for him to go through a workout beforehand?
Yeah, go through the workout and see how everything goes.
Okay. And then obviously, without Jarrett, do you need something more from Kevin? Because obviously he's been in this role throughout his whole season, coming off the bench and everything, and been very successful. But is there can you increase minutes or something different from him through this stretch of games, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, there's room there, and that's kind of why, we've wanted to manage his load for the entire part of this season, because we wanted there to be room to grow, because, you don't know what happens towards the end of a season, and then obviously, the hopes of playing postseason basketball as well. So, there's more room there, but again, we'll always do what's smart by him to make sure that he can play as many games as he possibly can. But, with Jarrett being out, there is going to be a heavier burden on him.
Thank you.
Marla.
Marla right now, our Akron Beacon Journal. Yeah, JB, I assume Jarrett didn't come on the trip, did he?
No, he's not here with us.
Did you, how would you describe his state of mind? I'm sure you've talked to him, how is he taking this?
I mean, he's disappointed. He really, cherishes being a part of this team. And he, cherishes the fact that he gets to go out and compete with a group of guys that he genuinely cares about, and they serve the same interests. So he is disappointed, but, again, he understands the big picture of it. And, as terrible as it is, like injuries are part of sport. But, he's engaged. We talked today, he wished us luck. He'll still be with us as much as he possibly can and supporting guys. And sometimes, as we've talked about, leadership takes different roles and different looks. And, he's going to have to find that role now off the floor.
And I mean, we haven't seen as much of Darius's lobs to Evan. Do you think that can be as effective as as he's been clicking with JA, obviously, for ever since you got Jarrett? Do you think that can be replicated?
Yeah, I think so. Evan has the length, he has the size, and he has the mobility, to get to the rim. It's just he doesn't have the amount of reps that Jarrett had with Darius. So, that may take some time for them to figure it out, but there's no reason why it can't be successful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last one, Chris.
JB, do you have an update on Karras and where he's at in his recovery?
Yeah, he's still working, still progressing. Obviously he's not where he needs to be to get back on the court. But we've been ramping him up, keeping an eye on him.